All right. And so we are recording today's event and it will be uploaded to the Career Center's YouTube channel as a placeholder until we do like a second, more improved version. And so all of the questions and feedback that you all as attendees provide us will be helpful to make us able to optimize the better version that we do, which I'm going to record with no attendees and then put that on YouTube so anyone can watch it whenever they want. So yes, that's why your engagement today is so important. All right. So there are 3 other events planned for the Internships 101 series this quarter. So here they are. So the next one is next week. It's called Successfully Navigate Your Remote Internship. So pretty much every internship is remote right now. And what does that look like? How do you do all the things in remote space? That's going to be what that event is about. Next is make the most of your internship. So the focus for that will be, how do you make the most of your internship before it even starts, during the actual internship, and also after the internship has ended. And then lastly is loosely titled Internship Courses at UCLA. That's in collaboration with the Center for Community Engagement. And we're just going to be talking about all things internship courses at UCLA, like what are they? How do you enroll them? How do you know if your internship is eligible? And like, what are the benefits of taking those courses? So all of these are currently listed on Handshake, and you can go ahead and RSVP, which we highly encourage you to do. Okay, so we'll do some introduction. I'm Alexis. My title in the Career Center is Internships and Talent Development Manager. Feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn. I do a lot of things, but I do all of the internship things. So that means that I basically serve as a consultant for everybody. I meet with employers, both on-campus employers and off-campus employers, to talk to them about their internship programs, how to recruit you all, how to make their internship programs better. A lot of talk about skill development. I run our internship program in the Career Center, our Career Peers program, and I do a lot of education, including events like this. So we also have one of our Career Peer interns joining us. So Christian, please introduce yourself. Tell everyone a little bit about you.
Thank you so much, Alexis. Hello, everybody. It's nice to see everyone here today on this amazing day, week 2. My name is Christian Cruz Hernandez, he, him pronouns. I'm a currently 5th-year transfer senior at UCLA. I'm also a first-gen student. So if there's any transfers in the house, put it on the chat. I'd love to see transfers attend Career Center events. So happy to be here. As I mentioned, I'm in my 2nd year in my role and never anticipated this to be in this environment. I'm sure all of you haven't anticipated as well, but the fact that you are here attending this webinar just shows that even despite COVID and other circumstances in your life, there are still ways to try to make the most out of this journey you have as an undergraduate college, or even as a graduate student in general. This is just awesome to see a great number of people attending this event. So I'm just happy to be here to assist you all in any way capacity I can, whether here or maybe just messaging me via LinkedIn and seeing if you have any questions. Just have fun and then make the most out of your time listening. And thank you so much, Alexis.
No worries. And I'm just keeping the chat box open. Mia, absolutely, we'll be recording. We record all of our events, I believe, is our new practice, especially in remote land. And we put them on the Career Center's YouTube channel. Easy to find that. Also, I'll be sending out the deck to all of you who have RSVP'd, no matter if you attended or not. I'm just going to send out to everybody. So that'll be helpful.
Also, Alexis, slightly interruption. I noticed that Hannah Ellison has her hand up. I did reach out to her in the chat, but I don't think she responded. So I don't know if she still needs help. Oh, okay. I think she lowered her hand. So
okay.
If you want, if you need something to say, Hannah, okay, she acknowledged it. Okay. No, we're good, Alexis.
Fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
All right, everyone. So our plan is to share some information for about 30 minutes. I'll try to zoom through it. It's not too complicated. It's just information. And then we'll do an open Q&A at the end. We'll be able to elaborate more, but we want to make sure to make this worth your while. So definitely keep the chat lively, keep it popping, throw your questions in there. If Christian can answer them during The content sharing, he's going to do his best. If there's something that you need clarity on, of something that I'm going over, he's going to interrupt me and I'll pause and clarify. And then if there are more complex questions, we'll definitely try and tackle as many of those as we can at the latter half of today's time. And then, as I said, don't worry about taking notes, but if you want to, feel free. We will send the deck out to everyone and the recording will be uploaded to our YouTube channel. So thought we would start with some common misconceptions or myth busting around internships. I'm not the only one, but I know in my role, I definitely see a lot of confusion and hear a lot of incorrect information. And it's not just coming from students, it's coming from employers, it's coming from staff. And so there's just a lot that folks don't know, and that's totally okay. As a first generation college student myself, I did not know any of this. I learned most of this through my job at the Career Center. So let's talk about some of these things. Definitely throw your thoughts into the chat for the first one. True or false? You can only get an internship in your field of study. What do we think? False, 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 false. Okay, all right. So this one is mostly false, but there are some nuances. And so especially for international students, if you're an international student, there are some like hurdles around internships for you. And it is a little bit more strict around what is your internship and what is your major as an international student. So if that's you, we definitely encourage you to contact the DashU Center. And as soon as you're even thinking about getting an internship, do it as early as possible so they can keep you informed about everything that you need to know. But for everybody else, no, absolutely not. Like, get an internship doing whatever you want. That's one of the purposes of internships, is to explore and experiment. All right. Okay, second one. True or false? Every internship ends with a job offer. What do we think? Okay, y'all are good. Definitely not. We wish, right? That would be fantastic. Yeah, so this is definitely false. However, there are some internship programs that are highly competitive and they will seek out a specific number of a cohort, and they may very well say, as long as you do well, whatever they define that to be, you're guaranteed an offer. And so a lot of times that is a conversation that employers will either bring up, or it's something that you can ask about through the selection process. And that's okay. Like, sometimes we don't want that offer. We're like, this is great, not for me. Which again is another purpose of internship, is just try something out, see if you like it, and just do your very best no matter what, whether or not you're expecting a job offer or not. Always keep a good relationship with your intern host company. You never know how that relationship is going to come back to benefit you in the future. All
Awesome.
right.
Sorry, Alexis, to interrupt. Thank you. Thank
No,
you so much
please
for
do.
explaining. We have one student on the chat, I think, who asked a really good question. If what's the internship process like, looking for one after you have graduated, and is it traditionally more harder because of so?
Because of
Oh, because you graduated?
So I actually talked with a student about this yesterday. And that's, I guess, another misconception or a myth, that internships are only for like undergrads, or they're only for continuing students. Technically, you should be able to get an internship whenever you want. Like, what is that movie? Like, there's the intern, and like the person's like in their 50s. So it really
Oh,
shouldn't matter.
yeah.
However, it is a concern. And so I would say, if it's an internship that you're interested in, address it in your cover letter, right? Why are you seeking an internship although you just graduated? Maybe you're taking a gap year. Maybe you're going into a master's program. You're still exploring. Whatever your reason is, the best way to get around that is to address it in a cover letter or in some sort of a conversation that you have with someone at the company, whether it's a coffee chat, a LinkedIn message, an interview. The other thing is that there are a lot of these things called rotational programs that happen, and they're specifically for recent grads, that are sort of like a bridge between internship and job. And a lot of times those are just for recent grads. And sometimes they're a year to a few years long, and you get to rotate through a specified number of departments or teams or whatever at that company. Each company has designed them differently, and you get to try your hat on all those different things. And then after that, the good thing about rotational programs are is that they are guaranteed jobs. And so at the end of that program, they sort of will assign you into one of those departments. And so if that's something that you haven't looked into, definitely start researching rotational programs as well, because they are really amazing. And they're a great blend of like that internship experience, a lot of training, professional development, plus you get paid good money, by the way, for a lot of them, and you have that guarantee of a job at the end. Okay. And let me see what else is in the chat that's super relevant. What year do you recommend starting an internship? As soon as possible. Anytime is the right time. And yes, some internship postings do have specific requirements. And if that's what they're looking for, then that's what they're looking for. And you kind of just have to honor that. Unless you've maybe had the chance to have a conversation and you ask that. But if they're looking for something specific, it's probably because they've intentionally designed a program for that. A lot of times, especially if they're for juniors, they want a junior to intern with them during the summer between their junior and senior year. Then they're going to be like, hey, Christian, you were a really fantastic intern. We want to give you an offer to start with us full-time upon graduation. So that is a very common model of internships, is that summer junior year, like after your junior year, do a really great job. They want to lock you in, give you an offer, and have you start working for them full-time when you graduate. Okay. How do you find rotational programs? Do a search, like literally type in rotational on Handshake, rotational on Google, and they'll start popping up. There's a lot of them. All right. So our last true or false question, what do you all think? Internships are better than jobs? Okay, I like this mixed bag of responses. Exactly. Okay. Yeah, Alyssa, she's bringing it. Okay. So yeah, it's definitely false, as in like they're not better. What I say is that they're different, right? And so both of them offer an opportunity for you to develop skills and gain experience. Fantastic. Jobs are always paid. But the biggest difference really, well, there's two. One is that internships should have a set date, start date and end date. Like they just don't go on and on like a job theoretically does. And then the other one is that internships should be more intentionally designed to have more of an emphasis on training and professional development for the intern. But other than that, they're great. They're both great opportunities for you to learn new skills and gain more professional development and also build your network. All right. Okay, so super basic, but hey, we got to start. This is internship basics, right? So what is an internship? Why are they important? What you see here on the slide is a definition that we're pulling from NACE. What's NACE? NACE is the National Associations for Career and Employers. And basically that's a professional association for university career centers and companies that are interested in recruiting you guys. We call you early talent or college talent, right? So that's where we intersect and exchange ideas and come to agreement and set policy. And so this is their definition, right? And so some of the things that I want to really elaborate on in this definition is a couple of things we've talked about already, is that why is an internship important? Why do they matter? Well, they give you an opportunity to try something out, right? What is it like to work for this company? What is it like to do this type of job? What is it like to work in this size or this culture, right, of a company, or a company that, or an internship type that's asking for a specific skill set? I just want to know what this is like. And so yes, they should give you an opportunity to gain applied experience and make connections, right? And then also on the employer side, this is where they're sort of like testing you out, right? They're trying you on too. So it's from both sides, everyone is trying this out and they're seeing What is it like either to have you as part of their company or part of their team, or for you, what is it like to do this? Some things that also I can continue myth busting is that internships can be paid or unpaid, and some offer academic credit. They can take place at any time. So one of the other misconceptions that they're only during summer. You can have an internship at any time, but most often they're completed during the summer. All right, Christian, let me know if there's any questions on that. Otherwise, I'm gonna keep going. All right. Okay, so we want to talk a little bit about evaluating internship opportunities. When you're looking at and searching and you're reading position descriptions and thinking, is this for me? And like, how do I even, where do I start? Well, here's some things that like you should sort of like see in most internship descriptions. They may show up a little bit differently. No internship position description will be exactly the same, but they should all speak to the following points in some sort of way. And so the first one is that internships are short term. So they should have some sort of a defined beginning and end. And so this can be a date range, it can be a number of weeks, etc. And so especially if you're looking to couple doing an internship with internship course credit, there are some specific requirements around how long it is. But especially post-COVID, we've seen a big shift in the spectrum of the duration of internships. And so I've heard of everything as short as 4 weeks, and then anything as long as a year or longer. Any questions or anything popping up, Christian?
Yes, we have one question from one student asking if it's okay to negotiate a starting date, maybe after you receive an offer for an internship.
I would bring that up during the selection process. That's a fantastic question. And honestly, a lot of times this happens, especially for us at UCLA, because we're on the quarter system. And most employers think semester. And so their start dates, especially for a summer internship, are too early for a lot of us who are still in school. And so that's a lot of what we do in the Career Center on my team, the Industry Relations and Experiential Learning team, is we talk to employers like, can you remember that we're on the quarter system? And so sometimes companies will have 2 different start dates for semester students or quarter students, but it just depends. And especially if it's a company with a small amount of interns or they just don't know these things, absolutely, I would recommend bringing it up before offer, right? Don't waste their time, don't waste your time. Find out the answer.
And I would like to chime in on that, Alexis, because I was in that situation where my internship started in my finals week of school. And all I did was just email them saying, hey, I think we have conflicting of schedule. Is it okay if I can postpone it to the week after? And it was perfectly okay. So when you receive your offer, the internships will do their best to work with you and your schedule and any other capacity as well. So I'm glad you brought that question up. And I think we have another student asking if you have to pay to intern an internship.
No, please don't do that. I mean, what I will say is that there are, especially again, post-COVID with everyone sort of like freaking out, but also like there's opportunity, right? Like we've seen a lot of like new industries or new companies crop up in what I'm calling like the larger ed tech space. And some of those include some of these companies where they're saying, hey, students, pay us some money and we will guarantee you placement with one of our partner companies. So pay us a fee and then we'll help you get that internship. That's up to you if you want to participate in those. The Career Center does not promote any of those. Just wanted to let you know that. And then yes, Tim, that's really great information. A lot of the internship listings will specifically already say what are their start and end dates. It's honestly, it's a best practice. All right.
And we had one more question, and then I think we can go on to the next slide. Alexis, is that from a student, if you have some experience but not a lot, is it better to apply to a job or an internship for a company that you are interested in? In other words, do you have less chance being accepted if you apply for the job? Mm-hmm.
I would like to, we can hold on to that question until the end, because that's a little bit more of a complicated one.
Okay.
If you want to address it at all in the chat, Christian, go for it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So we're going to continue evaluating internship opportunities. So Again, in a position description, it may be very explicit or alluded to, but really an internship should be a learning experience. And so what you should see emphasized in the position description or discussed during the selection process is how the employer is going to provide this to you. How are they going to make sure that they're providing you opportunities to apply the knowledge that you're gaining in the classroom? How are they going to make sure that you have, that you know what your goals are, or what are their learning objectives for you? Like, what do they want you to learn how to do? What do they want to give you the chance to try out and learn how to do? This can be projects, this can be presentations, this can be research. It just varies on the company, but they should be talking about this. And if they're not, you should be asking them, like, what am I going to have the opportunity to do? And what is that going to look like? And then lastly, like, the skills and knowledge that you learn should be transferable. It's kind of a given. However, if you're working for a company and like they're really only having you focus on this one thing that's super specific to doing only at that one company, like that's not really helpful to you as an intern, unless you know that you're guaranteed to get a position with them, right? So just have these things in mind when you're either looking at descriptions or you're going through the selection process, just to advocate for yourself and just so that you can sort of know what to look for. Okay. And lastly, kind of like adding on to the last slide, is really the internship should be more about you than the company. So that's why we're saying that's like that difference between an internship and a job, is that the emphasis really should be on intern learning, skill development, and you building your network, right? And so if you're doing work that's kind of like a job, but they're just calling you an intern, that kind of touches on that first bullet point. If you're sort of displacing the work that a regular employee would do and there's no other real investment in you, then you're kind of just doing a job. Also, you should be supervised by a professional in the field of what the internship is. And that means that either they have an educational or a significant professional background, like they are an expert, right, in what they do. That's who should be supervising you and giving you feedback, having one-on-ones with you, having developmental conversations and giving you feedback. And that brings me to feedback. So routine feedback should be and is definitely a best practice of an internship opportunity. Again, like every company is different. A lot of companies, maybe they've never hosted interns before and they're figuring out as they go. Other companies, this is like, they love it. They're very established. They invest a lot of time and resources, and they're like, your one-on-ones are weekly. We have them on Tuesdays at 4. So just know that it should be something that happens. And if it's not being brought up, then you can ask for it and say, hey, I'd love to have a weekly one-on-one, or how do we want to do feedback conversations? And then lastly, even though this is a little bit more tricky during COVID times, is that the employer really should be the one that's providing you with anything that you need to do the work, but also to participate in all of their opportunities. And so when it was on site, this might have included the actual like physical things that you needed to use, like computers, what have you. But right now it should be that they are making sure that they are providing you the access to software, right? The access to their tools, to their LMS, whatever it is, so that you can get the most out of the internship. They shouldn't be telling you to go buy some software. Okay. Any questions that have come up, Christian?
No questions currently.
Right. And just wanted to let you all know that every single internship posting that comes through Handshake is vetted and reviewed by a person in the Career Center. And so we are always screening to make sure that they meet our bare requirements. So you can feel absolutely confident that any of the internships that you see on Handshake have been vetted by us. All right. Okay, let's do some more myth busting. Just one question for you all. True or false, receiving credit for an internship equals compensation? All right. So we're seeing mostly false. Absolutely. I wanted to include this during this session, just because this is something that we see more on the employer side than the student side. Is an employer is saying, well, I can't pay, but I can offer credit. So like, that's just as good, right? Like the student's still getting something out of it. And we have to explain to them, actually, no, the student has to pay also for the class. And they also have to do work and assignments for that class in order to receive that credit. And so it absolutely does not equal compensation, even though some employers think it's like a replacement for. And so we are constantly having conversations and encouraging employers, pay your interns, pay your interns, pay your interns. All right. So that brings us to talking about paid versus unpaid. And I'm just going to get rid of the chat box so I can see my slide a little bit better. Just want to emphasize that the decision to take on an unpaid internship is personal, right? Deeply personal. And so here's some information that can help you. As I just said, we definitely encourage employers to pay their interns, and it's also increasingly becoming the standard. There are a lot of perks for an employer to pay interns. One, it's good word of mouth. No matter if they offer positions to their former interns or not, if you had a good experience as an intern at a company, plus they paid you, you're going to go out and tell your friends that you had a good internship experience, right? And that means more people coming and applying and better talent for a company to take advantage of. The other thing is, which is connected to the last bullet point, is the Fair Labor Standards Act, the policy on unpaid internships, has sort of like a test that employers have to meet so they aren't found liable. And it has to make sure that you as an intern are the primary beneficiary as opposed to the employer getting more out of it than you. And as it's kind of murky, it's in the employer's best interest to pay you so that they aren't kind of like held accountable later on down the line. And so this is a recent change, only in 2018. The previous policy was more about like, are they providing you with materials, or are you going to a physical location? It didn't really talk about who was getting more out of the experience. And really it is interns should get more, employers should get less, versus employers getting more, interns getting less. So just know that the trend is that more and more companies are saying, hey, we should pay. It doesn't matter if it's paid or unpaid, both are eligible for course credit, so don't worry about that. Unfortunately, just due to the way that they are run and sort of how their budgets function, government, nonprofits, and startups routinely, and I don't see any end to this anytime soon, they are the ones that are most likely to offer unpaid internships just due to those constraints. And so if those are sort of like sectors or types of companies that you're interested in getting experience in, just know that you may be more likely to see unpaid opportunities coming from there. No matter what, they still provide great learning experiences. They still look good on your resume. Also, employers don't care if you're paid or not. They don't know that, and it doesn't matter, right? They just want you to have relevant experience. And so neither of them are better. Okay, any questions that have come up, Christian?
Yes, we have a couple of questions. I think one specific one, I think I can address the other ones, is does the Labor Standards Act for unpaid interns apply to California only or just the United States?
Oh, it's federal, so it's for the whole country.
Mm-hmm.
So it includes California. And definitely just look up Fair Labor Standards Act, unpaid internships, and a fact sheet will come up. Educate yourself. We want you to know your rights. Okay, thanks, Christian. Okay, so a little bit more myth busting. True or false, internships are only available in the summer. This is an easy one. False, false, false. Okay, yeah, we talked about this one a lot already. So absolutely not. Internships are available all year round. Companies are also recruiting all year round. So there's never like only one time when all the internships available and then that's it. And then you missed out for the rest of the year. Absolutely not. Definitely some industries tend to recruit during specific times of the year. For example, we see a lot of like investment banking, financial services, consulting firms doing their recruitment during like summertime for the following summer, right? So late summer, early fall, a lot of them are doing their recruiting for you to intern for them in the following summer. But other than that, it's all the time. And especially with just all the shifting that's going on, kind of like post-COVID, anything's game, and everybody is sort of like adjusting and readjusting and like looking at trends and saying, why did we have to have any of these rules? Like, let's try new things. So we're definitely seeing a lot of shifting, which is great. It's fantastic. So there's always internship opportunities out there. Okay. Next question, true or false? Internships are only for juniors and seniors. False, false, false. Okay. Good job, everyone. So the reason I put this one on here is that there are a lot of sort of misconceptions around the fact that like you can't get an internship if you're not a junior or senior. Companies don't want you. In fact, pre-COVID, there were quite a few companies that were offering and intentionally recruiting and running internship programs specifically for first years or first and second years. What we're seeing even more now is that they're even starting in high school. Okay. And so what is this all about? This is all about competition to get you to work for them. Your talent, you're a valuable resource. And the sooner that they can connect with you and get you to think, hey, this is a fantastic company to work for, the better for them in the long run. And so we're definitely seeing this talent pipeline sort of like stretch out and become longer, which is fantastic. One thing that I will add though is that at UCLA, internship credit, you can only get credit if you have junior standing and above. So that's another reason why we included this during this event. Okay, next question, true or false? You should only intern for well-known companies. What do we think? False, 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 no way. Absolutely. Okay, so I mean, this is kind of like a trick question, but just wanted to emphasize that everyone has heard of Google or Tesla or Deloitte, and that's fine. That's great. They run great internship programs. They're fantastic companies, but everyone else has also heard of them and everyone else also wants to work for them. And so the thing about this is that there's just gonna be more competition to be selected and get that internship position. Whereas if you broaden your net and look at companies that are less well known for various reasons, you will have a better chance of getting the internship, but also you're still going to gain relevant skills and experience that will make you more competitive the next time you apply for that next internship or that job, right? And a lot of these companies have heard of these lesser known companies. They know about them because they're all in the same fields, right? And so they're going to understand that you have really good, solid experience. And a lot of times what I see on folks' resumes that are further out in their career is that is a trajectory, right? So they started out with like a quote unquote lesser known company, and either that next or that next job was at that dream company, right? So just broaden your net. Okay, last myth busting, true or false question. Remote internships aren't as good as on-site. True or false? Ooh, I see a true and a couple falses. Depends. Oh yeah, Alyssa, you hit the nail on the head. Okay. All right. So it absolutely depends, right? Just want to say though that again, it doesn't matter if you had a remote or an on-site internship on your resume. Employer's not going to care. They just want to know that you had an experience and you developed skills and experiences, right? However, as Alyssa has said, it depends on their preparedness and their intentionality. But you could also say the same about that for on-site internships, right? And so again, every company is going to be different in how they run their internship program. But all internships right now are remote unless they have clearance by whatever state or government that they're following about like health and wellness, right? And so pretty much all of our internships are remote, and every company who doesn't want to lose or experience like a gap in their talent pipeline is making sure that they're still engaging with you all as early talent, right? And so again, when we hit COVID, we saw sort of like this dip, and folks were telling us, oh my gosh, I had an internship lined up for summer and the company took it away. Or there's no internships. That was a really quick snap reaction. And then everyone sort of responded differently once they saw, oh, wait, there's actually an opportunity here for us to react and respond differently. And so what we saw is that some companies, they were good and they said, okay, I can't offer you this 3-month long internship, but how about we do a condensed, super short, but super awesome 4-week internship, right? Or we're going to provide you with a couple weekends worth of professional development, like conference type experience. And that was some of the solutions that we saw in the short term. And now as like we're in like the new normal, remote internships are actually awesome for everyone, right? We can all apply to any company anywhere now and intern for them. We don't have to drive anywhere. We don't have to spend the time commuting. And also, as I said, as companies iterate and develop these remote internships, they're only going to get better on the experience side. And you as an intern for them have a unique opportunity to also be able to provide feedback to the companies to help them make their programs better. So just kind of wanted to put that out there that neither one is better. We're all still evolving and adapting. So also have some compassion for your employers because we're all figuring it out as we go along at this point. Okay, anything that we should be addressing in the chat, Christian? Anything you want to add?
We do have one student in the chat. If you can see the chat box,
Royce?
Alexis. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it just occurred right now.
Okay, Royce, let's leave that to the end because that's a bit more of a personal and specific question. You're welcome. Okay, so we're almost at the end of our content, but just wanted to give you all some tips on searching for internships. So if you are not active on Handshake or you're not utilizing it, definitely encourage you to do so. Make sure your profile is updated so that you can maximize Handshake's algorithm. You literally have to do nothing and log into Handshake, and it will serve you up positions based on how complete your profile is or how up to date it is on what you're looking for. And so that includes like, where are you wanting to work? What type of company? What is the culture like, etc. And so the more that you tell Handshake, the more it's going to serve you up without you having to search at all opportunities that are coming through. On LinkedIn, a big tip that I would offer is start following companies that you're interested in. And then once you follow them, go to their employees and search for people who have the title recruiter and start following them too. This does not require a connection. You can follow anybody. And then what you'll start to see is that you'll get recommendations for other companies to follow. And these recruiters, who it's their job, literally their job to get you all to apply and to be interns, they will be posting on LinkedIn, hey, our summer internship program applications are now open, right? And so that's, again, like you literally have to do no searching other than scrolling your feed on LinkedIn to see this stuff. And then also another good thing to do on LinkedIn is to set some notifications for yourself based on a keyword search. And once you tell LinkedIn what you want, you can tell how often you want it to send you that. So these are like not the only things that you can do for Handshake or LinkedIn, but I think these are some ones that not everyone maybe thinks about. Just got a couple other options here. UCLA One is sort of like the LinkedIn just for UCLA. And so definitely there's a lot of alum on there and they can post jobs and internships. Subscribe to your departmental newsletters. A lot of the folks that write these and send them out include opportunities that are relevant to you. Attend information sessions. And so these were more common pre-COVID as far as like a company physically coming to campus through the Career Center and like hosting an information session in our building. But now they're happening remotely and you can find them on Handshake as well. It's a great way to just sort of learn, ask questions, and also get some insider info from someone or more than one person at the company about what it's like to work there, how to stand out as a candidate, when they hire, and things like that. And then also join relevant clubs and organizations because they do a lot of the same things. They do some of the searching for you. They bring companies in to do information sessions. They put on events or help you build skills and experiences so that you can be a more competitive applicant for internships and jobs. Christian, do you want to add anything?
I was just letting students know in the chat box of all the amazing resources that we have here, and the one that I think it's underutilized is UCLA One, because you have to voluntarily sign up to UCLA One. It's not like you make an account automatically. So the Bruins that you see there are the Bruins that are there to intentionally help out. So then they will, because you are also a Bruin. So they were once in your shoes. So I recommend using that service.
Yeah, and then I was just trying to be mindful of the fact that we had some master's students joining us as well. And so another great place to search is at the actual school or at local schools where you are attending a program, because a lot of those institutions will host graduate internships that are more specific and more niche to what it is that you're getting your master's or whatever your post degree is in. And it will complement your program. And so definitely be searching at either the same institution that you're taking your program at, or nearby, if and when we go back to in person, but if not, any school, right? Because again, we're all remote. So that's another tip that I would offer. On this slide, you see two sort of like logos. One says Parker Dewey and one says Forage. I wanted to bring these up as well today, just for some of you to check out, because these are some more flexible, lower risk opportunities to put some experiences on your resume. And so Parker Dewey is paid short-term project-based internships that take about 10 to 40 hours to complete. And so you do have to apply, but you definitely get paid, and it's an internship, and you just go on through their website, and you can peruse and see what sort of projects that they have on there. And the great thing about them is that once you've done one project for a company and you've done a really good job, they're a lot more likely to like hire you back when they list another project. The second is something called Forage. And so Forage is simulated work experience programs. And so these are unpaid because you're not actually working for the company, but you're doing the same type of work. And most of these are Fortune 500 companies from around the world. So you can get international work experience. They take 4 to 10 hours to complete. It is accessible anytime. There is no barrier. You can choose whichever program you want to participate in. So if you want to explore, this is the place to start. You can also put it on your resume when you log into Forage and go through their sign up process. They will explain to you how you should list it on your resume. But this is, again, another great way to gain some experience and learn some skills. Also, the user experience as sort of like a participant, as a student, is really great. There are videos. They provide you with materials, everything you need to do to complete the assignment. And if you're not sure that you want to do it, you don't have to worry. There's a description of each one that tells you like what you're going to do, what you're going to learn, and how long it should take. And so both of these can be accessed if you go in through Handshake on your homepage, click on Career Center, and then resources. So the same place that you go in Handshake to set your appointments with us, instead of clicking on appointments, click on resources, scroll down, and you'll find these, and then you can go from there. Okay, so that I believe is the end of our content. We've definitely answered a lot of questions throughout the time, but we still have about 10 minutes. Christian, are there any sort of questions that you want to push up that we haven't addressed, and then we can kind of just go down?
Yes, thank you so much, Alessa. And I'm sure definitely a lot of students got a lot of great value. So Winston commented that he's so happy to came to the seminar. So we're glad that this was helpful to you, Winston.
Yay.
And we do have one student asking about Forage, if there are many bio research opportunities there.
I'm so sorry. I can't like tell you that right away. I know that they have a lot of particular types. So they're more heavy on law and consulting just because that's where they started. but they are blowing up as a company. And so they continue to add more and more variety. And that's actually a goal of theirs. So I would tell you is go to their website and peruse their programs, but also check back with them somewhat regularly because they continue to add new experiences, which is one of the reasons that I really like them is they're not a stagnant service.
Awesome. And yes, and then if you're seeing the chat box, we have a question from Julia. If there's a, what would you say is the difference between volunteering and unpaid internships?
I mean, it also depends because an association that is offering a volunteer position can look and feel a lot like an internship, right? Or it can just be like, we want you to work 4 hours a week at the site doing whatever it is. And so I think it's just going to depend, and you're just going to need to get more information. But either way, both of them are valuable. Both of them help you develop skills and gain experience, and both of them look good on your resume.
Yes, I agree. And then we have another student asking, how long can students utilize resources like Handshake after graduation?
A full year plus a quarter. So the great thing is that for a full quarter after you graduate, you have full access to the Career Center as if you're still a student. And then after that, you have 1 year of what we call like Handshake for alumni. And you have less access, but you still have access. So, for example, you can't attend our fairs, right? Or sorry, you can't make appointments, but you can still attend our fairs. And I think if you go to the alumni tab on the Career Center's website, it goes into a little bit more information about that. Okay, anything else? All right, Mia, do most unpaid internships require an interview process? I would say it doesn't matter if it's paid or unpaid. Most internships do have some sort of a selection process. But again, these are going to vary by company. Also, there are a lot of informal internship opportunities that come out. Hey, my friends, blah, blah, blah company is looking for an intern. They wanted to know if I know anybody. And you're like, yeah, I know this one person. And then you'll be like, I'm that one person. They'll be great. If you call this person, they'll be great. Start interning for us tomorrow. So it can be as casual as that. But the majority of those, especially that you'll see like listed somewhere, they're going to have some sort of a selection process.
Awesome, Alexis. Thank you so much for your responses. If you're not seeing the chat box, that we on the QA, we have more questions popping up. One student asked, what is the general time frame for companies listing their internships for the summer? And what is the time frame for applications normally?
Mm-hmm. So there really isn't one. Like we said, some companies, they do things on a very set schedule. And so if they have summer internships, they may have started recruiting for them the summer before or the fall before, especially if they're hyper competitive or they're in specific industries. But for a lot of them, they're just sort of sprinkling out whenever sort of works for them and their company and however their recruitment or there are people who do recruiting for their company, like when works for them. Some companies don't even have dedicated recruiters. It's just someone's job that they have to do on top of everything else. And so that's why we say just look all the time. But what I will say is now, like in January and going through until summer, you're going to see a lot more for summer popping up. It's definitely a good time to be looking. And then the second question is about timeframes. Or did I already address that?
Oh, I think you addressed it already because
Okay.
it's different based on the company and the industry.
Yeah.
And we also have another student asking about resume tips on like what should we include on a resume and cover letter, and what are the most important things to have. Uh-huh.
So as much as possible, and I'm not going to go into too much detail, I'm just going to refer you to other resources, is try and tailor your resume to every single position that you're applying to by literally looking at the position description, highlighting the keywords, and making sure that those keywords are somehow also present on your resume, right? That's just so that you appear competitive and you show that you're what they're looking for. definitely want to refer you all to this link on this slide, our undergraduate virtual services, where you can see how you can access our weekly drop-ins that are Tuesday, Wednesdays, and Thursdays from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. No appointment required. You just show up. It's in a Zoom space. You're greeted by a Career Center staff person, and they'll put you into a meeting room with one of our incredible career peers like Christian or our career educators who will give you one-on-one support on your resume or cover letter and support you in your job and internship search. You can also go to the Career Center's YouTube channel and watch any of the relevant recordings that address any of the topics, such as writing a cover letter or a resume. Our career guide is downloadable and fantastic. You can access that either on our website or also through that resources section in Handshake. VMOC is something brand new that we just launched this academic school year, which is available anytime, 24/7. It is AI powered resume editing tool, absolutely free for you. Again, that can be accessed through the resources section in Handshake or on the Career Center's website. So those are a couple that I would recommend to you to get some of that more personal and nuanced support for your writing your application documents. Christian, do you want to add anything?
I think you said it perfectly. I just included a link to the chat box to access it, and I think there's a plethora of resources besides the ones we just mentioned in the webinar on our website. So we think everyone should take advantage of that and utilize it as much as possible. To your point, we do have, I think, 2 more questions, and I think maybe that might be the time we have left, but we'll probably see. One student asked, when an internship is paid, is it in the form of scholarship? And if so, do we need to apply to that scholarship separately?
Most often, no. Most often it should be like hourly, right? If it's a scholarship, it technically isn't an internship. It might be called something else. I can't think of what it's called right now, though. So I'm sorry, I got a little bit of a brain freeze there. And that's, we have to vet those very closely because a lot of time a company might say, we're paying you on a scholarship. Okay, if it's a scholarship, then it impacts your financial aid. And that creates a whole lot of mess for you as a student, right? And then if they say a stipend, well, a lot of times we have to check to make sure that that stipend divides out to be at least equivalent to minimum wage, right? And so really they should be going with an hourly rate. Royce, I just want to let you know we didn't forget about you. I do think that what I would refer you to is some of the resources that we talked about so that you can get some of that more personal feedback on your question, but I'm hoping some of the resources and things that we've shared is helpful for you. Okay, was there at least 1 or 2 other questions, Christian?
Yes, I think we have one more question. Do most internships require letters of recommendation? If so, would it be better to get one from faculty or from a current job you have?
I haven't seen that, but I can imagine that there may be some tied to like specific organizations or academic associations that maybe are super competitive or really well known, like some of these national or even global types of internships where this is part of their selection process. And I would say it just depends on what that program is and which you think would be more valuable to make you more competitive as a candidate. And so it honestly, it varies. But for most companies, they're not asking for an LOR.
Mm-hmm. Thank you so much, Alexis. And we just finished right on time at 1 p.m. and I don't see any more questions. If there are no more questions, thank you all for coming. The link is there for all of our amazing services at the Career Center. Alexis, do you have any maybe final words that you want to say?
Yeah. Look at my slide, you guys. I forgot to put our Facebook link. We're on Facebook. The Career Center is on Facebook. Just search for UCLA Career Center. We're also on LinkedIn, so search for the UCLA Career Center. My bad. But also, like, just thank you for your engagement. Like I said, this is our first time offering this in this format. So everything that you've asked will help us make like the next version of this even better. So what you've done is you've helped future students get even more value out of this resource. So thank you so much for joining us. Really appreciate it.
Yes, thank you all. And thank you all again, once again, for taking an hour out of your day to come here to learn more about internships. Please feel free to go on Handshake and register for a lot of events. We still have career fairs coming up. We still have a lot of these webinars coming soon. So there is still more to come. But thank you all, everybody.
Yeah, thank you, everyone. Stay safe and healthy. Bye. Christian, if you can hang out, that'd be awesome. If you have a couple minutes.
Yeah.